Hey, welcome back to the Club Junkies. What's in the bag for League Night? What would be week 28? Of course, League's been over for a while. The weather here is not amazing. It's holding on. Like, we're pretty good, but it has definitely cooled down, and League is long since done. So last week, I unfortunately didn't play. Again, just busy with kids' sports, all that stuff. But I did hit some balls out there. Went to the range, got on my net. Hit some balls. So hitting the ball actually really solid. Of course, at the end of the year, I always hit the ball when I'm not going to go play for a bit and shut it down for the winter. Of course, I'm hitting the ball better. But hitting the ball solid, and I do have to say, I wish I could have started off the season hitting the ball as well as I am now. Handicap would have definitely dropped a lot more. But but this one, I have a media trip coming up next week. So early next week, I will be out in Carlsbad checking out some new equipment for next year, which is pretty exciting. So got a bag because I'm going to hit some balls at some of the ranges of the OEMs and also maybe even play some golf out there, which is kind of cool. So I've kind of set up a bag that is going to have a little bit of everybody I'm seeing this week in it. And we'll go start it there. So we're going to start this bag as a kind of another media trip bag, and we'll start at the top. And driver is going to be the good old Cobra DS-Adapt LS. So this is the low spin model. I'm actually really like this driver. The funny thing is, like, I got fit into this when I went out to Cobra last year, and we kind of did a fitting, got fit into this model, kind of messed with the Future Fit 33 settings, all that. It was really awesome. I've never been kind of like the LS type player, and hitting this, really surprised at how well I hit this there. And then beginning of the year, I struggled again because every driver in my bag I struggled with, and then at the end of the year, started really hitting this thing. And I tell you what, definitely more playable than previous Dark Speed. I think this thing here is a little bit more forgiving, and I love the added adjustability because you can really dial it in for that miss that you might have. So this one here is a 10.5 head. The other cool thing is that the 10.5 head actually has a little bit more spin than, say, like the 9-degree head, and I know Loft does that, but they've kind of engineered this one to be a little bit higher launching, a little bit more spin, because they figure players like myself who need more loft are probably going to need a little bit of that control, a little bit of that height, all that as well. So it's not as hardcore as the 9-degree, but it's still the low spin model and all that. But it's definitely more playable. Love the adjustable weights. This one here is running, I think, 2 3s in the front and a 10 in the back, so added for a little bit more forgiveness, a little height. The hosel on this one is set to A8, which is, I believe, the lie angle is pretty much up like 0.3. I mean, it's barely up, or barely flat, just a hair flat, and the loft is up 0.7. So up a little bit of loft and a little bit flat, but that's what I got fit into as we were hitting. That was kind of the best setting there. But this thing, definitely long, control spin, and it's actually more forgiving than I think Dark Speed was. So great there. And then the shaft in this one is a Fujikura Ventus Red 6X. This is the new, the 2024 one, the one that came out last year. This one here has the VeloCore Plus, but I love this thing with the firm handle, little softer mid, soft tip, helps get that ball up in the air, but it's still tight, still controlled, it's still accurate. So really smooth feeling, but I like this Ventus Red in driver. It just helps add a little bit of launch to the guy who hits a fairly flat ball. So that is driver. And then 3-wood, we're going to put the new guy in. This is going to be the Titleist GT1 3 Tour. So I just got this thing in. I've been hitting it a little bit out on the range and stuff. I'm really liking it. When I got to see it back when I got fit for my GT Woods, but it wasn't ready yet. They just had some heads there that I could see. I wasn't able to hit it when they were when I was out there, so I never did. And then I got so many requests of people asking about it that I just had to go get one. So I asked my guys at Titleist, and they built one up to my specs and sent it over. So this is a 14.5-degree head, and the GT1 is typically the highest launching, highest spinning, most forgiving head that Titleist makes in the GT lineup. But the 3 Tour one is that same size, slightly deeper face on it, and it's a little bit lower spinning and slightly lower launching than the traditional GT1. So it's kind of like, not a mini driver, it's not a GT280, but it's not quite a GT1 either. So it's built for players who want still some height and all that, but they want a lower spin, have something a little bit bigger to hit off the tee, but still be able to hit it off the deck fairly consistently. And this thing does it all. And it's got the 2 movable weights on the sole, so you can actually throw the heavyweight forward, take even more spin off it, maybe launch it a little flatter. Mine here has the heavyweight back, lightweight forward, so we're playing a little bit more loft, get it up in the air. And it's just set to A1, which is the standard 14.5 degrees of loft, standard lie angle, all that. But this thing is awesome, especially off the tee, playing it. Well, yes, mini drivers are easier to hit off the tee. This is actually really easy, and that deeper face really allows you to kind of tee it up just a little bit higher and get a little bit more aggressive with this on tee shots. So short par 4s, and things like that. It's just great to hit off the tee. And then off the deck, it's still definitely doable, way more consistent and easier to do than a mini driver if you do have to hit it into a par 5 or something like that. So really good head here. Still got the little bit bigger profile, which I kind of like, because it gives you a little bit of confidence knowing that you can kind of hit it a little bit all over and still get away with it. So that is nice. But it's set to A1, standard hosel setting, and this is shafted up with the Graphite Design Tour AD CQ7S. So the CQ is kind of the high launch mid-spin shaft in the Tour AD lineup. And this thing here, again, super smooth, really consistent. It is a little bit spinnier than, say, Ventus Red. If you compare those two shafts, are kind of in a similar vein. This one here spins just a little bit more, which on a fairway for me is okay, especially hitting it off the deck. That extra spin just kind of gives it the ball a little bit of lift and lets it get up a little higher and carry a little further. So this thing's been a really kind of a good one out there. Just hitting it, a lot on the range and in my net, and been really excited to put this thing in play and actually play it on the course, because it's been a solid 3-wood. Then we'll move into 7-wood, and 7-wood is going to be the Callaway Elyte Triple Diamond. This is one that I've played a bunch this year. I think this thing is a great 7-wood. It's a little bit more compact. I wish it kind of had an adjustable hosel, but it's still great. Bonded hosel there, but it's got a super fast face. The ball speed on it is really, really good for a 7-wood. I mean, smash factor wise, I don't think I've got a 7-wood in the arsenal that's as fast as this thing off the face. Ball still gets up in the air. I'll call it mid-high launch. Not quite as high as, say, like a G440 Max, but it's also not super low and penetrating, but gets the ball up there, still lands soft. Again, nice compact look, and just easy to hit. I mean, easy to hit off the deck. You can hit it off the tee. It's just a real kind of monster out there. And for that gapping, a lot of times people go 3-wood to 7-wood. It's a little hard to make that gap up, or you got to get an adjustable one and turn it down. This thing here is just super fast. So 21 degrees, and playing is 21 degrees because there's no adjustability, but I really like this thing. Especially beginning of the year, I hit this thing really, really well. So a solid one there. And this is shafted up with Aretera EC Blue, or EC1 Blue. So this is kind of the slightly softer tip section version of the shaft. They make a gray one that's got a little stiffer tip to it. They don't really market it as like mid-launch, low-launch, anything like that. Kind of two different designs. But this one here, I consider it kind of more mid-launch. But kind of mid-launch, mid-low spin, really smooth feel, very stable. It's got the control center tip section, which has this woven carbon fiber in there. Spread toe material that's thin but really strong, and it's just a tight shaft. It's easy to hit off the deck, easy to hit off the tee. It doesn't balloon. It just goes really well, and this thing's smooth. It feels good, and even if you kind of go after one a little bit, you don't feel like you're overpowering the shaft. And this is just a 75-4, which is a 75 stiff, so nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. And this was just like I think it had just a slight upcharge in this head to get this shaft in there. So kind of a premium offering at a good price, and this has just been a solid 7-wood. I've liked this thing a lot. I've played it a lot over this year and continue to play it there. It's really, really good. Then we'll move into irons, and the first iron will, of course, be a utility iron, because why not, in the 4-iron, and it's going to be the Cobra King Tech Utility. So this is the one that I've had this for a little bit. I really like this. I think it's kind of one of the most underrated utility irons out there. It's got a good look to it, not a ton of offset. It's not super chunky. It's got a little thinner top line than some of the other utilities out there. Just really looks really, really good, and it's got good speed. It's not the fastest one in the world. It's also not the highest launching. I'll consider it more of like a little bit more middle bit more penetrating launch. Still can hit it off the deck with no problem. The feel is good. It's got a little bit more of a low pitch kind of knock sound to it, which is kind of nice. But yeah, just overall performs really well. Does everything solid, and it's pretty darn forgiving. Now, some of the misses, yeah, you can see a little bit more distance lost than compared to some of the larger utilities out there. But for a better player who wants something that's a little bit easier to flight it up, flight it down, hit different shots with it, this thing is really, really versatile. So a really solid utility here. This is the 4-iron, and this is shafted up with a UST Mamiya Dart V 105 stiff. So this is 105 gram. I play it at 39 inches, so it's like a hair, I think, long, but I can choke down, play it off the deck as like a traditional 4-iron, and then if you're hitting it off the tee and need a little extra out of it, play it full length. But this shaft here, again, kind of a nice mid-launch, lower spin shaft, good stable feel to it, a little bit on the stouter side in terms of the flex of it, but it's smooth and it reduces good vibration, but it's super consistent and really kind of, again, one of those underrated shafts. You just don't see enough players trying it out. So really solid there, but the Concept 105 F4, which is a stiff flex, 105 gram, but it blends into the irons really well. And the irons are going to be 5-through pitching wedge, and they're going to be the Callaway Apex AI 150s. So this is a brand new Apex that came out that kind of replaced the Apex Pros, but the 150 is definitely the more compact one. It has basically hollow body design, throughout most of it. I think when you get into like the 8-9 pitch, it goes to kind of more, a little bit more of a more solid design, a little bit like firmer face. But the long irons have a hot face built into them, thin. They've got a lot of power. They have the urethane microspheres in there, so they got good feel to them. They launch high, and they've got decent spin to them. They're a little bit of lower spinning compared to some other irons that are kind of similar, but the spin is still good. I haven't had a problem with flyers or anything like that out of the kind of the thicker rough that we have here in Metro Detroit. But I love the look of these things. You set them down, they're super compact. They're a little bit shorter heel to toe, so they look really good. They've got a thin top line, not a lot of offset. Just overall, really, really good looking package. And honestly, they're pretty forgiving. I was kind of worried when I first saw them and got them in that they were going to be pretty tough to hit, a little bit demanding. But after playing a bunch, like these were kind of my gamers at the end of the year. And I love the fact that they go high. The long irons have that extra power to help with my gapping. The short irons are precise. You can hit them into the greens, and they're really good, really solid. So really versatile set. I like these a lot. We'll play 5-3 pitching wedge, and these are shafted up with True Temper Dynamic Gold Mid 115 S300s. This is a little bit higher launching dynamic gold. Like I've said before, I really like this shaft. It just helps launch the ball a little bit higher. Still has a nice smooth feel to it. It's still consistent. It's still kind of got a little bit of weight that you know where it is throughout the swing. It doesn't get too lightweight, but a really solid offering. And I like I said, these were actually these came in a set that they just sent for a media sample once, and I took them out and hit them. And I was shocked at how well I hit the shaft. So I've actually asked for them in a few different clubs, and this is one of them. So good to add a little height for me. It lands softer into the green, but a really good set of irons. So we'll run 5-3 pitching wedge with those. And then the wedges, I think, are pretty much the same as last week, possibly. I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, but we're going Titleist SM10s. And this is the SM10. This is the 5012F. So again, the high bounce, 50 degree. Love the turf interaction on this. That extra bounce, full sole. It's great for those fuller shots, especially in a little bit softer conditions or if you get a little bit steep. And this thing here just has good sound and feel, produces a lot of spin, and holds the green really, really well. And I love the fact the SM10s have a really straight leading edge and very, very little offset, if there's zero offset to them. So a nice little look. These are the raw ones. They do rust a little bit, and these are shafted up with Nippon Modus Tour 105s. So a little bit lighter there, but honestly, they play really well. And honestly, I don't really have a problem going from the heavier iron shaft into these lighter weight wedge shafts. It doesn't really throw me off or do anything, and it's kind of like a mid-high launching shaft, so great to throw it up in the air a little bit and bring it into the green and landing softly. So that'll be the 50, and then the 56 is going to be the 5614F. So the super, I wouldn't say super high bounce, but the high bounce 56. We've actually seen a bunch of these on tour, which is pretty interesting, but this is the higher bounce one. Much like the gap wedge, on kind of the fuller shots from out in the fairway, the turf interaction is great. Out of the trap, this thing floats really well. You can just kind of thump it into that sand, and you don't have to worry about it getting it in there a little too early or anything like that. It's going to hit and float through, even if the sand's soft and fluffy. You can still open it a little bit around the greens and play a slightly higher lofted shot, but it's not meant to be thrown wide open. But this thing here, same thing. I love the fact that, straight leading edge, no real offset to it, and just a classic Vokey look. Same shaft, Nippon Modus Tour 105. So again, love that kind of mid flight on this thing, slightly higher than mid. It controls the ball really, really well. And then for the lob wedge, we will go with the Vokey WedgeWorks K Star grind. So this is the kind of one of the hotter grinds out there right now. Seen a bunch on tour. It's basically a low bounce K with the back end ground off and the leading edge kind of ground as well. So you get a lower leading edge, sits down on the ground. On those tight, firm lies, you can get the leading edge under the ball, get it more center contact. On softer lies, this kind of pre-worn leading edge will help get into the turf, and it'll kind of shallow itself out and get out. And then that back kind of grind line on the back there, that trailing edge relief, allows you to open that face up, keep the leading edge down, hit some higher lofted shots in there. So super versatile one. It is lower bounce. I think it's like 6 degrees. So this one here, I don't use it as much at home unless it's kind of been dry for a while. But going out to San Diego, it's a little firmer, a little tighter. This should work really well. So I've liked this wedge a lot the more I've used it. When I first got it, I think I was playing it. It was like a little bit softer, and I kind of struggled with it. And then the more I played it on some of the tighter stuff, I really, really liked it. So I've kind of honed it in, and it's been a great versatile wedge. And this one here is just shafted up with basically a True Temper Dynamic Gold S200, which is the stock Vokey shaft in here. The S200 is a slightly lighter weight version of the S300. Not much. I think it's like 127 grams instead of like 129 or something like that. It's like 2 or 3 grams lighter. So a good feeling shaft, consistent, and just a hair lighter than the S300. So that will be the wedges. And then putter, I'm actually not able to show putter. The putter I'm going to use doesn't come out for basically another like couple weeks, so I can't show that. But I will say last week I just said I didn't have a putter I couldn't show you as well. And I believe somebody in the comments actually guessed it, and they said, oh, I bet it's one of those new Odysseys. And you are right. It is the Odyssey square to square Tri-Hot, which, yes, is the red and black one. This is the Jailbird model. And yes, this is the kind of square to square, toe up, zero torque model. It's got the new AI dual insert in it that's got 2 layers of urethane to help control distance or have distance control. And then also it has the 19 grooves on the front to put better forward roll on it. So a really good putter, super soft, great feel to it. It's got like 140 grams of tungsten like up in the front here. And then the back is aluminum, all hollowed out. So that's how it gets a really stable kind of toe up position. And they also push the shaft more forward on the head, so it's not as far back in the center. It's up near the face a little bit more. Kind of, I think, helps the look a little bit. You can see more of the top of the putter, which is nice. But this thing's been really solid. I've actually liked this better than any other square-to-square that Odyssey has made yet. And then also it has kind of a brand new square-to-square pistol plus grip, which is kind of a little bit more kind of hexagonal shape, but it fits in the hands well. I won't say that it's maybe the most amazing grip that I felt, but it's not bad. I like it better than some other grips that I felt in these square-to-square models. So that's a really solid thing. But this is what I used last week. What I'm using this week, I unfortunately can't show for another couple weeks. So that one will be a little bit of a mystery for a bit. But that is the what's in the bag for this coming kind of weekend into next week. And hopefully I'll play some decent golf and not look like a total fool in front of a bunch of people from different OEMs. But that is what's in bag for week 28. And check in next week because I'll probably have another bag for another media trip that I can show you as well. So anyway, thanks for following along, and we'll see you next week.